it's really important that they can hear what you're saying.
Yes, it is. Because you got to listen carefully to follow it.
Yeah.
Although it helps if you've already seen us. It's good fun doing this, isn't it, Mel?
Is it fun? Yeah, sometimes it is a lot of fun. It's mostly very educational. I'll tell you what I've learned so much. Brian was so gracious on his show to help teach me and to guide me, and I felt so silly at first, and he was just so reassuring and so loving and caring. Okay, we have someone. Yeah. Hey, Wake Up News, can you hear? Wake Up News, can you hear Colen very well or me very well?
Hello, speaking, Mrs. Colen. Did I hear that?
Hello, White Rabbit. We're trying to find out if you guys can hear Colen or not.
Do you want me to talk so they can hear?
Yeah.
I just did. Did they hear me?
I don't know. They just said hello, everyone, and audio's low so far is what I've got. So,
At least they're hearing it.
so audio is better from Colen. That's what we want. We want good audio from Colen. Okay.
Can you hear the audio?
They said they can hear you good. That's what's important.
I have got a loud voice.
Got another person coming on to join us in just a second.
Are they going to join us here?
It's okay, White Rabbit. Thank you so much, though, for responding.
Yeah. I got a few new things too, Mel.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Hey, Harold, say hi to Colen.
Hello.
Am I supposed to hear them?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can you hear him?
Yeah, I did. I did hear him.
So that's Harold. Harold's on.
Hello, Harold. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you. So I heard you were going to do the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, I'm going to break it down and tell you what it means.
Okay, please.
Wait 1 second.
Okay.
One more second, I think. Colen is watching me because he is on Messenger. He's not on here.
I can see Miss Mel sitting right there. Proud as life.
Don't you feel so sorry for him, little Harold?
No, that's not true. You're pretty.
Why are you so far away? I can barely hear you.
Because I have the mic behind the phone so that everyone can hear Colen, because it's more important for him to hear him than it is me. And because he doesn't do the Google Hangout, so he's on Messenger, and I couldn't figure out which way to put the Messenger on so that everyone could hear. So I'm far away, and Colen is louder for everybody.
Oh, okay.
So
Makes sense.
but he can hear you perfectly.
Sweet.
Hoping we're not.
Yes, I can hear you well, Harold.
Okay, good.
Are we getting? Can anyone in the chat tell me whether we're getting feedback?
Yeah. Hey, Ty.
Hey, Harold. How you doing?
All right.
chat.
Who's the other one? Oh,
Ty.
You?
Do you have the chat pulled up so you can see it too?
Who's in the ether?
No, I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay.
How do I do that? I got a star and a camera at the bottom of the screen.
Scrappy, I do have headphones, but if I put them on and I unplug this, then I won't be able to hear Harold and Ty. So we're just gonna let Colen just take the floor and talk. Everybody mute their mics while he speaks, okay?
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, go for it.
Okay, take it away?
Take it away.
Okay, thank you, Mel, for giving me the opportunity to do this, and I thank the Lord Jesus Christ for showing me. Okay, this is the meaning of Oz. It starts off for 40 years. This story has been faithful to the kindly philosophy, blah, blah, blah. The 40 years is the 40 years in the wilderness. The faith is mentioned twice because in the Bible it says, let it be established with 2 or 3 witnesses. Twice faith is mentioned, so it's literally saying this movie's about faith. Dorothy Gale. The name Dorothy actually means gift from God, and Gale means stranger to God. She was a gift from God. She didn't know that. She was a stranger to God when it first starts. Toto represents God. Dog spelled backwards. Man's best friend. He chases a nasty old cat because the nasty old cat is the witch's familiar. Miss Gulch's name. Gulch. Elmira Gulch. Elmira means Arabic princess. She represents Islam. That's the wicked witch of the east. And the Gulch is the gulch separating rich man from Job, was it, or Lot? One of them two. Well, that's the Gulch in the Testament. So that's the Christian side. And she represents the Pope. Wicked witch of the west. WWW. W is the 6th letter in the Hebrew alphabet. 666, the Pope, the false prophet. I'll prove that a bit later on too. Over the rainbow is heaven. When she's near the end of the song, it looks up into the sky and you can see heaven. That's what it's showing you. And it says, if happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why can't I? Well, why are they bluebirds? I'll explain that later. Okay, then Miss Gulch goes to the farm to pinch Toto and take him away, and when she gets him, Aunt M gets up and says, Elmira Gulch, for 23 years I've been dying to tell you what I think of you, but being a good Christian woman I can't. Well, that 23 years, that's a nod to Bill Weiss's 23 minutes in hell. It's telling him job well done, and it also represents the 23rd of September 2017, Revelation 12, the lady in the sky. Now, how is that possible when Oz was made in 1939 and then things didn't happen until the last few years? That's because when Dorothy meets Professor Marvel when she runs away from home, the camera pans on a big sign that says past, present and future, Professor Marvel, in high crystal. Change high crystal to high definition. Past, Oz was made in 1939. Present, we're being told the truth now. Future, Bill Weiss and 23rd of September are in the future. That's the future. That's what it's representing. Now, Professor Marvel, he's called Marvel because he's having a shot at the Marvel franchise's eye with its Thor, Fallen Angel, Loki, Fallen Odin, X-Men genetic manipulation. He's actually having a shot at them. He's also wearing checkered pants. This is Professor Marvel. The checkered pants represent the Masonic checkered floors. He's saying to the Masons, I'm wearing the pants here, not you. All characters played by Marvel represent God. I'll show you that later on too. Now we get the Toto sausage fair. That's how I got it written up. Toto pinches the sausage and Dorothy says, that's not polite. And Marvel says to Toto, that's okay, from one dog to another. from one god to another. They both represent God. Okay, then a storm hits and Dorothy starts going home. Marvel grabs his horse named Sylvester. Sylvester was the saint that converted Constantine. He created popery. So what it's saying with Sylvester the Catholic horse and the Wicked Witch of the West, beware the Catholic Trojan horse. The flying monkeys are the Catholic clergy. They know exactly what's going on. Now it gets back to the farm and you'll see 4 horses escape from the barn. They're the 4 horses of the apocalypse. Storm hits, Dorothy hides in an indestructible house. The indestructible house represents God's house. The tornado, that represents near-death experiences, tunnels. She's having a near-death experience and she's going through the tunnel. She sees cows and chickens and they represent the food supply being taken through natural disasters, which is going to happen. Then she sees 2 guys rowing on a boat and they nod hello to her. They represent the 2 witnesses. They're about to drop out the sky, just like Dorothy did. She just dropped out of nowhere. Okay, she gets to heaven. The house lands. She opens the door. When she opens the door, you hear a choir singing. It's a heavenly choir. It's really nice. Now, here we come to the colour blue. Remember the bluebirds in Over the Rainbow? Then you got the blue sky, and she's wearing a blue checkered dress. Marvel's got the Masonic pants on, the black and white. Dorothy's got the blue and white checks. Now, the colour blue means this: trust, wisdom, confidence, intelligence, faith, truth, and heaven. So look what she's wearing compared to the black and white. That's what the colour blue means. Then the camera starts looking over the top of Oz and you see a lake and it's glistening. They're the living waters that we drink from in heaven. They're the living waters. Okay, Glinda shows up, Glinda from the north. North's heaven, obviously. Glinda, the name, literally means good and holy. Glinda is the Holy Ghost. She shows up in a purple orb, like a lot of ghosts do, and purple represents royalty. It's telling you Glinda, the Holy Ghost, is royal. The Munchkins are little because they're like little children, because in the Bible it says, unless you make yourself like these little children, you will not enter heaven. These are the guys that done that. These are hopefully us. Anyway, the house drops and it fell on the east, the Wicked Witch of the East, and killed her. Now, the Witch of the East, she's wearing black and white stockings. That's that Masonic stuff again. Black and white is always Masonic stuff. Okay, Dorothy's a national hero. That's because, to be honest, people will like that an Aussie got this, so that'll be good. Then it sings, Glinda starts singing about Dorothy dropping out the sky, and during the song she goes, she brings you good news, for haven't you heard when she fell out of Kansas, a miracle. The good news, that's the Bible. What's the only book that's known as the good news? The Bible. She's bringing the gospel to Oz, and you can see it the way I'm doing it. Okay, after that all the munchkins are starting to head towards her. You'll notice a guy with horns, a little munchkin. He climbs out of the sewer. I'll tell you why in a minute. The house began to pitch, the house began to pitch. The kitchen took a pitch. It landed on the Wicked Witch in the middle of a ditch, which was not a healthy scene to wish upon the Wicked Witch, who began to twitch and was reduced to death or switch in what was once holy Baal Witch, B-A-A-L. It's telling you the Wicked Witch of the East is Baal. He is the god of Islam. Baal, that's who it is. Okay, where are we up to? Okay, you see the Wizard of Oz, the soldiers. They're wearing green and gold. They're Australia's sporting colours. Make of that what you will. Then they sing, you've killed her so completely. That's because this is so obviously Christian that any Muslim that watches this and has seen Oz, they're going to go, what's going on here? So it kills her. Then the mayor, they're all talking to Dorothy and giving her raps and that. the mayor says epiphany. Well, I'll keep that to myself for now, and I'll keep a couple of things to myself. Then he goes, this is a day of independence for all of Oz and her descendants, but it really means this is a day of independence for Jesus Christ and his descendants. Then you get the Lollipop Guild. Here's the sewer guy. The 3 lollipop dudes, all their hairs are shaped in the horns, and they're all wearing black and white stockings, and they're scowling. They're the Devil's Gang. That's who they represent, especially with their horns and black and white stockings. Yeah. Then the Wicked Witch shows up, and she shows up from below. She comes up from the floor in a puff of red smoke. She is dirty green. She's not emerald green, because green is one of the few colours that has negative sides, and the negative ones of green is jealousy and all that sort of stuff. And she goes, who killed my sister? That's because the Pope, the Catholics, the Jesuits, they created Islam. They're the father of Islam. It's the Catholics and the Pope. Okay, I told you East is Islam, West is a Pope. He's a false prophet. We got the false prophet right here now. I didn't write this. This is what's happening. Okay, now we get to the red slippers. Red means, the colour red means passion, desire and love. The red shoes represents Christ's blood. He's actually saying, I passionately desire your love. Now, if you look up at a close-up of the red slippers, they're all tiny little scales. They're not scales, they're red blood cells, and they glitter because they're alive. And the bad witch is trying to get them, and Glinda says to Dorothy, their magic must be powerful, or she wouldn't want them so bad. Well, that's Christ's blood is the most powerful of a lot. Anyway, and then when the witch threatens Glinda says, be gone, you have no power here, because she's got no power against Christ. And Christians, if you're in Christ, she's got no power on you. Then when she disappears, she goes below again. And then, this is good, Glinda waves her nose, and she goes, phew, quite a smell of sulphur. So she's obviously from hell. Then you get the broomstick. What the broomstick represents is shortcuts. Dorothy had to walk to Emerald City. The witch flew on a broom. She cheated. It's a shortcut. We got the shortcut at the end. Now you get the yellow brick road. The yellow brick road represents the Bible. Follow the Bible to judgment. Follow the yellow brick road. Why yellow? Streets of heaven are paved in gold, and yellow is the holy colour. And it also represents food. And what is the Bible? The spiritual food. So it all backs each other up. Then you got the red brick road next to the yellow. That represents the blood of Christ. You got the Bible and the blood of Christ marching together. You don't see the red brick later because it's too impractical to put in. And then Glinda says to Dorothy about the shoes, never take them off your feet for a moment. Like I said, you're protected if you're wearing Christ's blood. Not physically, soul-wise I'm talking about, and physically too sometimes. Okay, she meets Scarecrow. Scarecrow represents science with all his thinking. Then you get Tin Man. Tin Man represents psychiatry with all his emotions, and you'll know that when you listen to the songs. Then you get the Cowardly Lion. The Cowardly Lion represents the Christian faith. And what I mean by that, Muslims and that think our turning the other cheek is cowardly. We know it's not, but that's how other religions view us. But things are going to change soon because we're not going to be the Cowardly Lion anymore. There are 3 of them. They represent facets of Dorothy's character. They are all her. They start going along. Dorothy and Scarecrow walk along, and they come to an apple orchard. Well, what was Eve tempted with? Apples. And at the bottom of the apple tree, you see the Wicked Witch of the West, Satan, the Pope, withdrawing away from the tree. So you've got an apple tree with Dorothy about to eat an apple, and the Wicked Witch of the West slinking away. Well, that's straight out of Eden, where she got tempted. That's what that represents. Okay, then Scarecrow gets attacked when they meet Tin Man, Scarecrow gets attacked by the witch again. He gets attacked, and he's the one who gets attacked because he's the brains of the outfit. If he panics and tosses it in, it's over. They're all going to blow it. Then they get to the jungle, and they're worried about lions and tigers and bears. Now, this means two things. Lions, Britain will betray the US via Canada. Tigers, China will purposely collapse the economy. Bears, Russia will invade the US via the back borders of Canada. Now, also, here's the second meaning. Take the first letter of each word. LTB, lesbian, trannies and bis. The G is actually God judging them. Doesn't mean gay. So you've got LTBG, lion, tigers and bears, with God watching them. They get the poppies. The poppies represent opium. And, okay, when they get to the poppy fields, only the flesh and blood gets stoned. You've got Dorothy, the lion and Toto. They nod off because they're stoned on opium. Scarecrow and Tin Man, they don't get stoned because they're not flesh and blood. They're just thoughts. They're abstract. They're not flesh. They're abstract. They're thoughts. They're the ego. So they don't get stoned. Then they start screaming at Dorothy. They scream for help. And when they do, Glinda shows up and waves a wand. When she shows up, you can see straight through Glinda to the poppy fields. And that's Glinda literally being the Holy Ghost. She's saying, here I am, I've helped. They don't see it, but that's what she's doing. So she's been the Holy Ghost there. Then when they come to, Lion goes, unusual weather we're having, ain't it? Well, that's a nod to climate change, and you can put that down to that past, present and future sign again. That's a future sign coming in. Then they step out of the woods. That means Dorothy's beat her addictions in real life. They get to Emerald City and they ring the bell. And the guy opens the door and goes, who rang that bell? That's because one of the morals of Oz is knock and I will answer. That's one of which no one knows that, but that's one of them. Then they're trying to verbal their way in, and Scarecrow says, she's wearing the slippers you gave her, and the guy at the door goes, prove it. Oh, no. The guy at the door goes, prove it, and Scarecrow goes, she's wearing the slippers you gave her. Well, when did the guy at the door give her the slippers? He didn't. Glinda give her the slippers. Unless my Professor Marvel theory is correct, every character played by Marvel represents God, which it does, because otherwise that doesn't make sense. He didn't give her the slippers, so how does that make sense? Okay, yeah, they get the emeralds. Oh, I left this bit out. I'll leave that. When they get to the Emerald City, they go in the door and all the citizens are wearing circular hats. They represent halos. All the citizens in Emerald City are angels. They're our servants by inheritance. The horse with a different colour, that represents a different denominations of the Christians, and so they're in there. They get the brush up and that, and they get looked after. Then a big storm comes and yeah, I'm sort of losing track here. I'm trying to. A storm comes, or something happens, and they all look up, and there's a smoke trail saying "Surrender, Dorothy." Well, that "Surrender, Dorothy," that represents chemtrails. Again, back in the present sign, future sign. Surrender, Dorothy represents chemtrails. Now, remember, Dorothy's name means gift from God. So it's saying, surrender, gift from God. That's what it's saying. No chance. Then we get to Lion being king of the forest. Now, what's happening is Lion's being anointed. You'll notice he's got a red ribbon in his hair. And when he's singing, he goes, when I click my heels, the trees would kneel, the mountains bow, and the fools kowtow, and the sparrow will take wing. Well, everyone knows a lion is king of the jungle, but he's not king of matter, so how do trees and mountains bow at him? There's only one man in history who said mountains bow at him, and that's Jesus Christ. So that's what it's saying. He's been anointed by Jesus Christ. Then he gets a green carpet laid out. Well, in heaven, the red carpet's green. It's the opposite on Earth because Earth's got nothing to do with heaven. That's why it's the opposite. Now, you'll notice the lion gets a blue crown put on him. It looks green in the old footage, but if you get the high definition one, you can see it's blue. Don't forget the 8 meanings of blue, perfect colours. And then he goes, if I obey, that's because he's got to obey, or none of this will happen. Then they go up the tunnels to meet God again. This time, it's a near-death experience tunnels. That's how you meet God if you're alive. So that's what they're doing. Now, when they get there, you see that big green head. That represents the alien deception. It's an image of the beast. God knows that's happening. He's allowing that to happen. You know that. So that's what that represents. Then Lion gets up to get his stuff, and he gets real quick puff of blue. All the rest don't get blue, but as soon as Lion gets there, he gets a puff of blue, and it knocks him out. And that's because he just got the power of the Holy Spirit. Look at them 8 meanings to the colour blue. He just got it shot into him, and that's why he hits the deck, because he's the one who got all the power, the Christian side of him, the Christian side of Dorothy. Anyway, they have to kill the witch. That sort of implies no more cowardly Lion. You know, he's not going to be the coward no more. He's going to fight back. They're in the haunted forest. Tin Man gets attacked, and why he gets attacked here is because he represents psychiatry, and he gets attacked through the haunted forest, and that's fear. They're trying to trigger his fear, so they all panic. Then you get Lion. He says, I do believe in spooks. I do, because he knows it's a spiritual battle. He knows there is such a thing. Then they show the forest, and you see 2 owls. Sort of means Illuminati, but not really. But I'll chuck that in anyway. Then you get the monkeys. The monkeys represent the Catholic clergy. They know exactly what's going on. I said last time on M's that only the Cardinals, but I was just letting them. They all know what's going on. Then when Dorothy's in the castle, this is really sad, but it's not really, because the witch goes, isn't it nice of you to visit me in my loneliness? That's sort of sad, because she's lonely because she gave up God. So suck over her, but I'm just saying. She wants the slippers, and she goes to get the slippers off Dorothy, and they zap her. And she says, and the witch says, that's right, I can't take them off you as long as you're alive. Because whilst you're alive in the red slippers, your soul is completely protected. She cannot touch your soul. And that's what she's after. She's not after Dorothy's body. She's after her soul. Toto escapes from the castle. And the witch goes, you and your dog have been more trouble than you're worth. In other words, you and your God has been more trouble than you're worth. Anyway, she throws an hourglass down. She's got an hourglass, and the hourglass represents time's up. And that means time's up for us as well. I don't mean today, but we are in the last days. Revelation 12 last year proved that. It's not debatable anymore. So that means time's up. And this is really, here's something I didn't tell you before. At the poppy fields, this thing I left out, when she's at the crystal ball doing the spell to create the opium thing, when she's doing that, she goes, shoes or no shoes, my power will be greater than that. But if you listen closely, she actually says Jews, Jews, or shoes. So it's saying Jews, Old Testament, or shoes. The red slippers are crop. Christ, New Testament. So it's saying Old Testament or New Testament. I'm still greater than Christ. Still greater than her. Anyway, Oh, yeah, okay. So Lion and that, they're going to rescue Dorothy, and when they're climbing up the sort of rocks to get to the castle, they're talking about going in there, and Lion says, gods or no gods, I'm going in there. Well, who said the Wicked Witch of the West and the East were gods? No one did. I did, and I showed that with Islam and the Pope. So when it says gods or no gods, it's confirming my theory. But it's small g gods, it's not big G gods, it's small g O-D-S. Okay, when the water melts, which, that water's not whole. There's no such thing as holy water. That's the Catholic's dogma. And why it melts up, because their own blasphemy will kill them. That's what that is. There is no such thing as holy water. That's ridiculous. Anyway, they try to back the gang into a corner, and Toto comes out and attacks them, and they all back off. He's a little dog. He's a little terrier about the size of a chicken, and these guys are big monsters, and they back off from him. That's because he's God. He's the power of God. Now, we get to the curtain. The curtain represents the apocalypse. It's that simple. Pull it back, the veil's been lifted. Why the apocalypse? Well, the apocalypse literally means revelation of hidden meanings. That's the Wizard of Oz. I'm showing you all the hidden meanings, which means we're in the apocalypse. It doesn't mean the world's blowing up, but it certainly gives you the season. Okay. Then they go and meet. They go and talk. They're talking to the wizard, and he starts giving them their wishes. He gives Dorothy he gives Scarecrow a diploma, and Scarecrow grabs it and goes, the square root of the hypotenuse square, blah, 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 whatever. He's saying some mathematical formula, which he couldn't do before. So he just got his brains. And at the end he goes, joy, oh, rapture, I got a brain. So he got his brain. Then he get Tin Man with his heart. He gets his heart because you know he did, because at the end he says to Dorothy, I know I got a heart now because it's breaking. Then you get Cowardly Lion. He gets a medal, the Triple Cross. Always a trinity with them. The Lion gets a Triple Cross. So the three of them got their wishes. They're not what they expected, but they got them home. So the real guy behind the curtain, he delivered, just not the way they expected. Okay, Scarecrow saying joy, oh, rapture, that represents the rapture too. And the rapture's not happening today. It's not coming till the very last day perhaps, but that's what I think. So then Scarecrow, when he gets his diploma, the wizard says something about, you got this from e pluribus unum. Well, that means out of many come one, out of many come Christ. The Lion got the Triple Cross. Dorothy, when he's talking about giving Dorothy his wish, her wish, he says, you force me into a cataclysmic decision. Well, the cataclysmic decision is bring home the elect and start the wrath. That's as cataclysmic as it gets for mankind. But we're lucky because we go home. Now, the balloon is tied to crosses. The balloon is tied to crosses. There's no rapture without the cross. It's that simple. Dorothy taps her shoes 3 times. There's that trinity again. Always a trinity with them.
Lost connection.
Now, she goes back to Earth, back to black and white. She's now reborn, but it's not bad now because,
Can you go back just a little bit? We lost
it's going down?
It did.
Are you getting it?
Just lost connection for just a
I'm
second.
still here. Where are we up to from? Okay.
Oh, lost you again. Oh, there, I can hear you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, good. Okay, do you want me to go back to Dorothy's wish?
Yeah.
Okay, Dorothy, when she asked for her wish, the wizard comes out and says, you forced me into a cataclysmic decision. The cataclysmic decision is bring home the elect and start the wrath. That's as cataclysmic as you can get for mankind. It's never going to be worse than that again. Now, you get to the balloon. The balloon is tied to crosses. You're not going to get raptured unless you're tied to the cross. Dorothy asks, how do I get home? She gets told to tap her heels 3 times. There's that trinity. It's always a trinity with them. She gets reborn, and she's back in the black and white Earth. That means she's back on Earth. She's back in a normal body. But she's reborn like a reborn Christian. But this time she's got the wisdom. She can see all the colours in her head. So she knows it's not just a black and white world. There's a lot more to it. So that's the Wizard of Oz, Miss Mel.
That was awesome.
left out too. At one stage when the witch is going Emerald City, she goes, I can't wait forever for those shoes. But if you listen closely, it sounds like Jews again. I can't wait forever for those Jews. That's it. She says shoes like choose, like CHEWS. And I interpret that to mean Jews. Yeah.
You are scrappy, yeah?
I'm what?
No, Colen.
What is it?
Colen.
Colen. I can't. Colen, but are you usually in the chat, Colen?
No.
Okay. The
I only met Bill a week ago.
Okay. The reason I'm asking you, I wanted to. That was completely different than what I expected on the Wizard of Oz. But I wanted to ask you in the very beginning.
You didn't.
In the very beginning, you said something about the Pope and the Antichrist.
Yeah.
And you said later I'll explain that.
Sorry?
You said later that you would explain that Pope is the Antichrist.
I did when I said Sylvester the horse represents a saint that converted the Pope, converted Constantine.
Right.
That's what that represented. Put that with the Wicked Witch of the West, the Trojan horse, the Catholic Trojan horse. There's your Antichrist, the Pope.
Okay.
Do you get what I meant?
I understand who Constantine is, and I understand that you're talking about the intermingling of the true religion with a false religion to get Catholicism.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, so basically true religion with paganism, and you got Catholicism.
Yeah, you have. Then
Okay.
throw in Islam, the sister, and you got an unholy trinity.
Okay. I've never heard obviously the Wizard of Oz was written by Frank Baum, and I've never heard it explained quite that way. And I take it that you're in Australia.
Yeah.
And you have
Aussie got Oz.
But you have an Australian viewpoint on the Wizard of Oz, which is interesting.
That was really good. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, there's no accident an Australian got Oz. Serious. It wasn't no accident. And it's no accident their soldiers wear green and gold.
Right. I admire your symbolism. Now, where did you get all this information from? Okay, Melissa, you're breaking up terribly.
Yeah, we just lost connection for a second.
What happened? I watched Jonathan Kahn, and I watched Bill Weiss's 23 Minutes in Hell.
Melissa, you're going to have to tell me to repeat all that when he's done, because I can't hear anything he's saying.
Colen, it's all breaking up. Oh, losing ya.
No, it's playing up. Is it back?
I can hear you kind of, yeah. That's frozen. Yep, it's frozen. Oh, I totally lost him.
It's okay, I'll come back.
It was a very interesting.
That wasn't it's completely different than what I thought. What do you think, Harold?
I think it sounds very plausible. I mean.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Everything that he said, I don't really have a problem with.
Right.
I found it very entertaining and very interesting. I just wondered where he had actually got the information.
Gotten it from, because that's very long-winded information. I'm surprised he got through it.
Yeah.
You know, that was something.
And there was a lot of symbolism there.
Yes, very much so. Oh, that might be him.
Oh, there you are.
I can't see you. Can you hear and see me?
I can see you and I can hear you.
Colen?
Oh, I've only got your white screen up, the messenger. I won't muck around with it so it doesn't hang up.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
mate, you got a question?
yeah. Yeah, can you explain how you got this interpretation of the Wizard of Oz?
That's right. I was telling him we got cut off. Okay. I watched Bill Weiss's 23 Minutes in Hell, and I thought, this guy's legit. What's going on? Then I saw Jonathan Cahn's Harbinger and Shemitah Mysteries. Well, he proves God without doubt. And when he done that, I sat on my bed and I thought, geez, the Gospels are true. I started thinking about it, and an aura hit me. The aura told me, over 3 months, told me a lot of things, but how he told me Oz, he showed me the red slippers, and he showed me they represents Christ's blood. That's why the witch wants them. I thought, yeah, well, that makes sense. I went and watched it, and I knew it all. It's like I wrote it. It wasn't told to me. I knew it in my heart.
Wow.
So that's how I got it.
Huh.
That is interesting.
Any thoughts, Ty?
It wasn't the time, mate.
Yeah.
That I understand about who was it? You brought up Jonathan Cahn, which of course wrote the Harbinger, which is based upon, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. It's good Harbinger.
And that's based upon basically the dedication of a tree in New York City, dedicating what was he dedicating? The sycamore. Yeah. The only problem is that
sycamore tree. Yeah.
The only problem with Harbinger, based upon that, was the fact that we're not Israel, and that's how that works. That we're not Israel. United States isn't Israel. Israel's not the United States, and that's the promise with that's the problem with his basic premise. But it's good reading. You know, it's a good story. But then again, so many things are like. You're breaking up a lot.
What did you think of his Shemitah Mysteries? Do you think of his?
He's breaking up too terribly. He's breaking up so bad. Unless is there anything that we can do to clear it up?
My internet.
Yeah, there's nothing that we can do about that.
Pray. You can pray and ask the Lord to let it come through.
I can hear you.
Give it a shot.
Okay, I can hear you. So
it's just the connection. Sometimes this happens. And sometimes the connections are bad over great distances. That's what happens.
Hear you now. Try again.
I think I was asking, what do you think about the Shemitah Mysteries? Because that's maths. You can't argue with maths.
I'm still having a hard time hearing him, Melissa. Can you guys hear him?
Yeah, I can hear him.
Harold, can you answer whatever he's saying? Because I can't hear.
He asked what you thought about the, what was it, mystery?
What was it,
Colin?
I'm still here.
What was it?
Okay. What was the question you asked?
Harold, your mic, you have such a buzz behind you, Harold. You're a buzzer. I'm going to buy you a new headset and mail it to you, Harold. What was the question, Colin?
I was just saying, have you seen the Shemitah Mysteries? Because he proves God with maths. Jonathan Cahn.
Shemitah Mysteries?
Yeah. Shemita.
Shemita. Shemitah Mysteries.
Yep.
And he proved God with.
What?
And he said he proved God with math?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Proves God
Yeah,
with maths in the Shemitah Mysteries.
He proved God with math, M-A-T-H?
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't need him to do it. I'm already a Christian, but I understand that. But no, I did not read the Shemitah mystery, the mystery of the Shemitah. I didn't read it, but I know about it, but I didn't read it.
I didn't read the book. I just seen him being interviewed on Jimmy Baker Show or someone like that, where he just cuts to the chase and he shows you. He's really good at it. It leaves no doubt.
Okay, well that is interesting. I've never heard the Wizard of Oz broken down quite like that before. I have heard different things broken down. I thought it was going to be something completely different than what you had stated. I saw your comment on Melissa's channel under her video about the Wizard of Oz, and that's how I knew about it. But it was really I couldn't believe it was something.
Still there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yes, I'm here.
Can you see me?
Okay. What was I going to say? All the other, if you look at the thing of Philosophical Society and
Friend about hey.
Hold on, you guys.
Sure.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute.
Okay. Hey, Harold. How you doing? Good.
Hey, Ty. How are you?
Your microphone sounds good to me. I mean, there's a little bit of buzzing, but that's intermittent, so it doesn't matter.
Okay.
You can still hear that in tune. That's nice.
Yeah, I mean, I found this to be quite entertaining. And the symbolism was very original. I mean, I had never heard this interpretation before.
Never. And, I can't say that I agree with everything 100% because he was going so quickly. But what I did understand, I'm like, yeah, I can see that. But I didn't think that was I don't think that Baum, covers Frank Baum's the guy that did it. I didn't think he incorporated the symbolism on purpose. I think it was something that just was there. I mean, you understand that, Harold. Yeah,
of course. But
I remember, why, of course, we all do watching with our parents when we were younger, what I miss is I remember the shows, but what I'm thinking back to now about all these old shows is my parents' commentary as we were watching the shows and what they were telling me about it. Right. You know what I mean? That's almost important. Almost as important, more important than the memory itself. What my parents were telling me about the movies that I was watching, especially The Wizard of Oz. Because if you were, I'm sure you were like me. Did your parents force you to watch The Wizard of Oz? Was it like an event? Sit down, shut up, watch it on. It's on. Shut up, watch. That's the way it was. So
actually, I found that there were certain things yearly I like to watch.
Oh yeah.
They represent certain times.
Of course.
Of the year.
Of course, and we miss that now. In fact, I tell the kids, this as a side comment about it, is that the thing is that you guys have really gotten away from the big deal of watching The Wizard of Oz because you guys can watch it anytime you want. You have it on DVD. We can hear you a little bit better.
Can you hear him okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you a lot better too, Harold.
Oh, good.
Excellent. Good. But I was very, very, very impressed with your with your opinion on The Wizard of Oz. Very impressed. It was very good.
Too, actually. The symbolism was very.
I love doing it. It's my job.
I have a couple questions. How long have you?
Sure. Any milk?
Melissa, can you turn yourself up a little bit?
How long have I been saved?
No, I can't turn myself up a little bit. You guys are have to strain to hear me.
Okay. All right.
I have a couple questions for Colen. Hey, when did you wake up to all the changes?
Okay, I saw Joan Rivers say Michelle Obama's a tranny. And she wasn't joking. I thought, geez, that's interesting. Let me check that out. So I went and checked that out. That led me to the Obama's the Antichrist stuff. I'm not sure on that. I'm just letting you know what happened. That led me to Bill Weiss and Jonathan. It all Michelle Obama led to Christ. That's how it went. So suck home, Michelle. Wow.
Wow, maybe send her a thank
But how
you
did
for-
you become awake to the Mandela effect? Bill Weiss?
Yeah, what about the Mandela effect and Bill Weiss?
No. She's asking you, when did you become awake to the Mandela effect, not to the Wizard of Oz or Christianity?
No. Okay. The jury's out with me on the Mandela effect I don't believe countries are being moved, but
Okay.
I don't remember Scarecrow and that with a gun as a kid on the Wizard of Oz. So that could have been Mandela effect. And I also remember the Brady Bunch was a Hawaii holiday. There was 52 states. I remember that.
Wait. I want to ask you. You remember 52 states. Can you tell me what the missing 52 states are? The last two that you remember.
I don't even know the first 10, mate. So
No, I mean,
ask me that.
I can give you one of the two, if you like.
Go ahead. I mean,
At least,
see if it jives.
what I understand, who have already applied for statehood.
Well, of course, I know that, but
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I did too. That's what I thought. But would you believe of the people that I talked to affected by the ME, the two states, and this is for your for the room too, for the chat, that believe it or not, I've heard Washington D.C. and also Cincinnati as a state. And the strange thing about it, like I've said before, people have said this on a number of occasions, but they also put Washington D.C. on the West Coast as a state on the West Coast.
Whoa.
And it's not just one person. Yeah, Washington D.C. on the West Coast, not the East, and Cincinnati as a state. And I said, you've got to be that. If I were to guess, I would have said 52 states. I would have guessed Puerto Rico, and I would have guessed Washington D.C. But they said Washington D.C. on the West Coast, and
why would it be on the West Coast?
I don't know. That's what I said, and they said no. It's. I remember it on the West Coast, and it's not.
You sure they weren't talking about Washington State?
That's what I thought too. And they said, no. As emphatic as we would be on the ME, they are too. Said, I'm not crazy. That's what I know. I know Washington D.C. is on the West Coast, and that it's a crazy thing. Now, of course, it's not a million people, but of the people that know that believe that there were 52 states and they believe in the ME and they're affected by things, they say Cincinnati and Washington D.C. on the West Coast.
Cincinnati.
And I go, man, yeah, right.
A
city. Cincinnati is actually the state of Cincinnati, and they're emphatic about it. Because if you start questioning them, they think you're calling them crazy. They're really, have to go the long way around to let them know that you're trying to be serious.
And where would Washington D.C. be on the West Coast? I mean, where would it be nestled between?
I don't know. I don't know. I didn't get that far. But this has happened more than once.
You didn't ask? You didn't ask? Because I would have thought that you being you, would have definitely asked.
I was centered on Cincinnati at the time. And Washington D.C. was at the end going, well, yeah, of course it's on the West Coast. And I said, no, wait, I missed that, and that's what happened. So yeah.
Okay, we're gonna keep this really short so that people can listen to Colen's redemption of the Wizard of Oz and not have 4 hours of discussion. So
okay.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Colen.
That's cool, Mel. I love doing that. Thank you for having me on.
It was great, guys.